Hello again, and welcome back to Granny Dorothy Visits. Today's topic is Sending and Receiving Station. And the first reading from Everyday Wisdom, Wayne Dyer's book. Be consistently aware of the need to serve God and others in any and all of your actions. That is the way of the miracle worker. And the next reading from Julia Cameron's Blessings. The quote at the top of the page is from Rumi. There is a place where words are born of silence, a place where the whispers of the heart arise. And this is called, I am divinely partnered and led. I am blessed by the guidance of spirit in many forms. I open my heart and my mind to the influence of higher forces. I relinquish my definition of myself as small and limited. I invite guidance and inspiration. I welcome new thoughts and perceptions, larger perspectives and possibilities. Rather than insist on being the sole author of my life, I invite the collaborative forces of the universe. Synchronicity, coincidence, reinforcement, and serendipity. These are friendly companions which speak to me clearly of higher realms. Rather than close my mind to the possibility of active spiritual intervention in my affairs, I commit to noticing, noting, and acknowledging the support which I actually receive. Life is an orchestra. I am at once a musician, a music, a conductor, a composer, and an audience. I recognize my multiple roles, and I embrace the harmonics of my accompaniment. I am perfectly, intricately partnered. I count this partnership a central blessing in my life. And the next reading is from Norman Vincent Peale's wonderful book, The Power of Positive Thinking. Many unique methods of prayer have come to my attention, but one of the most effective is that advocated by Frank Laubach in his excellent book, Prayer, the Mightiest Power in the World. I regard this as one of the most practical books on prayer, for it outlines fresh prayer techniques that work. Dr. Laubach believes that actual power is generated by a prayer. One of his methods is to walk down the street and shoot prayers at people. He calls this type of praying flash prayers. He bombards passers-by with prayers, sending out thoughts of goodwill and love. He says that people passing him on the street as he shoots prayers at them often turn around and look at him and smile. They feel the emanation of a power-like electrical energy. In a bus, he shoots prayers at his fellow passengers. Once he was sitting behind a man who seemed to be very gloomy. He had noticed when he entered the bus that the man had a scowl on his face. He began to send out toward him prayers of goodwill and faith, conceiving of these prayers as surrounding him and driving into his mind. Suddenly, the man began to stroke the back of his head, and when he left the bus, the scowl was gone, and a smile had replaced it. Dr. Laubach believes that he has often changed the entire atmosphere of a car or a bus full of people by the process of swishing love and prayers all around the place. In a Pullman club car, a half-intoxicated man was quite boorish and rude, talking in an overbearing manner and generally making himself obnoxious. I felt that everyone in the car took a dislike to him. Halfway down the car from him, I determined to try Frank Laubach's method. So I started to pray for him, meanwhile visualizing his better self and sending out thoughts of goodwill toward him. Presently, for no seemingly apparent reason, the man turned in my direction, gave me a most disarming smile, and raised his hand in the gesture of a salute. His attitude changed, and he became quiet. I have every reason to believe that the prayer thoughts effectively reached out toward him. It is my practice before making a speech to any audience to pray for the people present and to send out thoughts of love and goodwill toward them. Sometimes I select out of the audience one or two people who seem to be either depressed or even antagonistic and send my prayer thoughts and goodwill attitude specifically toward them. Recently addressing a Chamber of Commerce annual dinner in a southwestern city, I noted a man in the audience who seemed to be scowling at me. It was altogether possible that his facial expression was not in any way related to me, but he seemed antagonistic. Before starting to speak, I prayed for him and shot a series of prayers and goodwill thoughts in his direction. As I spoke, I continued to do this. When the meeting was over, while shaking hands with those around me, suddenly my hand was caught in a tremendous clasp, and I was looking into the face of this man. He was smiling broadly. "Frankly, I did not like you when I came to this meeting," he said. "I do not like preachers and saw no reason for having you, a minister, as speaker at our Chamber of Commerce dinner. I was hoping that your speech would not be successful. However, as you spoke, something seemed to touch me. I feel like a new person. I had a strange sense of peace. And doggone it, I like you." It was not my speech that had this effect. It was the emanation of prayer power. In our brains, we have about 2 billion little storage batteries. The human brain can send off power by thoughts and prayers. The human body's magnetic power has actually been tested. We have thousands of little sending stations, and when these are tuned up by prayer, it is possible for a tremendous power to flow through a person and to pass between human beings. We can send off power by prayer, which acts as both a sending and receiving station. So after reading that part, I thought it was quite interesting. So I went out and I got the book that he talked about, Prayer, the Mightiest Force in the World, by Frank Laubach. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. And this was written after World War II. So, but what he's talking about in here is the need to pray for our leaders of the countries around the world so that we don't have World War III. And I thought, boy, the way things are today, and I don't want to get into politics, but things are not good. We need to help our world leaders, and the only way that we can do it is by prayer, by sending up a prayer to the world leaders, asking them to listen to God and to do what's right, because we have no idea what they should be doing. But this is what one of the things he talks about in the book here, which I thought was really good. So maybe we can keep that in mind, and just, even though we may not like the world leaders in this country or that country or whatever, but it doesn't matter if we like them. We want them to listen to God so that they'll do right for their people, so we can have peace in our world, because isn't that what we want? We need it. Peace and love. And I send you my love. Mwah. Until next week, bye for now.